listeners, some conversations hit different. They make you pause, exhale, and realize, okay, maybe the way I have been navigating my energy needs a full systems upgrade, like a complete overhaul, maybe. And listeners, today, this episode on the Cosmic Confluence podcast is one of those. Because we are going to dive into the messy, magical intersection where spirituality stops being aesthetic and actually becomes functional. My guest, Scarlett Seebach, isn't here to sell you glitter or, promise you instant enlightenment. She's a human design reader, Reiki Master, and also a certified crystal healer who has built an entire methodology around helping you work with your energy instead of performing spirituality, maybe for Instagram or TikTok. She created Astral Reiki, which works on the actual astral plane. She helps clients rewrite core patterns and also brings a no-nonsense strategy to the spiritual place. So if you have been, longing for a conversation that is honest, grounded, and still it is cosmic enough to make you question what is really possible, listeners, you landed in the right room. So let's all get into it. And Scarlett, welcome to Cosmic Confluence, and it is such an honor to have you here with us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Super. Okay, Scarlett, I hope our listeners will have the same questions here, but personally, I am also kind of fascinated, especially by Astral and Reiki. But before we try to understand, how exactly Astral Reiki works, what exactly are these astral planes, Are these like some kind of projections of the human conscious or subconscious? I mean, what exactly are they?
So that's a really complicated question. And yes, it is to a degree that is true. The astral plane is full of the projections of human consciousness. That is absolutely where it lives. But, it's also full of the projections of every other consciousness, like ever. So it's not just about us. It's about the rock that's outside. And it's about, the other species on different planets. So it's more than just us.
That's a very important, kind of misconception that you have actually busted, because until now, I have personally always associated astral with, something which is only related to human. But I think it is some... So now Astral Reiki, it operates beyond the physical body. So if you can, help us, visualize, or maybe, just clear, explain, what is actually happening in that space, when you're working with someone.
So there tend to be a lot of things that are happening in this space. If you're asking, what a typical session generally looks like for me, then it starts out with, we both sit, we talk, we set our intentions, and then I'll put on a little bit of music, close my eyes, and then leave my body via astral projection, head over to where the client is, and then conduct life force energy through my astral body instead of my physical body. And from there, it's really the sky's the limit. There's so many different things that can go on in a session. One of the first things I always do is check to see if my client has any astral parasites and get those removed, because they suck the light right out of your body. And check and make sure that, any of the chakras need attention, because, everybody's chakras always need some amount of attention. Clear out any stuck energy, help fill those with light, because most people's chakras are very light depleted. We just we don't connect with the earth as much as we used to, and we don't spend as much time out in the sun as we used to. And so we're all just running on half a tank basically all the time. So I do go ahead and make sure to fill the chakras if there's time. And most people's nervous systems are a little overloaded. We've all got a little bit too much going on. So usually I will go ahead and send some calming energy into like the amygdala and the cerebellum so that extends through the nervous system and into the fascia and just get everything calmed down so that, you can actually relax through the session. Because a lot of people do feel my presence when I come over there. So, and, there are varying reactions to that. So it just helps you stay calm, and it's a nice little boon because we're all stressed. So, and then I always ground you in with light energy. And yeah, I mean, beyond that, it varies quite a lot. So
it varies person to person, the astral experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned about sometimes the kind of reactions that the people you are working with, when you are actually astrally connecting with them. I mean, does it depend on always like they're stressed, or maybe they may have some kind of traumatic experiences? I mean, does that energetically drain you? Because, you're kind of helping them connect with their truest selves, kind of removing that blockage, energetic blockage. So does that stress you, or maybe, take something out of you? Like every time you go for a...
On occasion, if the case is more severe, then it will. But for the most part, I find that it's actually quite an energizing experience for me. Since I'm channeling so much light through my light body, when I bring that back into my physical body, like it's a nice little charge.
Wow. Okay. And when you are actually rewriting, these patterns at that core level, how do you like differentiate between, whether there's a genuine energetic shift, or maybe the client is, just simply feeling this, empowered or hopeful?
Well, if the client is leaving feeling empowered or hopeful, that is a genuine energetic shift. Assuming they didn't come in feeling that way. But I think what you're asking is, how can I tell if there's been a shift in the energy? And for me, it's as I'm outside of my body, I operate more on visual cues, because clairvoyance tends to be the easiest mechanism for navigating when you're outside of your body, just like seeing is the easiest mechanism for navigating when you're inside your body. So when I'm checking on different frequency bands, I can look and see if something is basically out of tune with the rest of the system. And so I can give that some light and some tuning and, basic energy work, and bring it back into tune with the rest of the body. And it actually gives me a visual cue. Usually if it's out of tune, there's a little bit of darkness that's kind of surrounding the area. Mm-hmm. And as it comes into tune, it brightens up.
Wow. That is actually, to be honest, fascinating. I mean, and I think I do understand the difference, that you described, like between what can look like, just an emotional placebo and what is actually a real energetic rewiring. Um, and Scarlett, human design, when it comes to human design, it is often treated as, some kind of this personality type. Um, what makes it a functional tool, instead of just kind of a category or just another system that, people would use to justify their patterns?
Well, people do sometimes use it to justify their patterns. So it can be a tool for that if you want it to be. But, I've never thought of human design as a personality type. I know that people use it like it is. But to me, like looking at it, it has helped me so much figure out how my actual body functions and how the energetics of my body function, and to work with the function of my body has just opened up so many doors as far as accessing more energy and, really accessing just greater prosperity. And I don't just mean like money, but like just abundance in life, like abundance in health and abundance and getting to be myself. And just all of these different avenues. It opens so many doors. And I mean, we can look at it as like a very basic personality type. And if you really want to use human design to justify your actions, you absolutely can. I mean, just like astrology or Ayurveda or any other system, you can misuse it. But to use it in the way that is intended, it does really, it helps me function optimally, which is really nice.
It is. I mean, it's really refreshing because, especially in this space, I think there has to be more and more awareness and discussion around responsibility and choice, rather than just like a destiny written in a chart or, some kind of code. It is what it is. It cannot be changed, or there cannot be any space for improvement or shift in there.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the basics of human design is using it to help you find discernment. Everybody's got their own personalized strategy and authority. And when you actually really use that and really experiment with it, that's what opens the doors for you.
Agree. And Scarlett, this ability of yours to travel, in the astral plane, is it something that you had to, kind of develop or learn as a skill, or was it something like God-gifted, or, something that you would have discovered in your childhood? Like, I'm personally very curious to know.
So astral projection's actually an innate ability that all humans have. We all do it every night when we go to sleep. It's, so I'm not actually special. Like, everybody can do it. The only edge that I really have is that I can do it with a little bit more awareness. I can do it while conscious, and that's the only thing that's really different. So it is something that I've always been able to do. I spent a lot of time as a child very tired, and so I think it kind of came naturally as like this way to be able to escape my body and be able to move more easily through life. It's a great disassociation technique. Highly recommend it. Not really. Don't do that. But that is kind of where it emanated from. And it's, some of us don't have the best childhoods ever. And it is great for dissociation. And that's really where I kind of learned how to do it in childhood. And growing up. As a teenager, I kind of abandoned it for a little while, but when I got into my 20s, it suddenly felt so much more important, I think. And what I really had to learn as far as astral projection goes, and what I am consistently learning more and more of as I get deeper into Astral Reiki, is protection. And, I actually think that's the main thing holding people back from astral projection, is because it's not like inherently safe. There's several books out there on astral projection, and they generally take one of two takes. And that is that astral projection is completely safe and nothing bad will ever happen to you if you do it, and everything's rainbows and sunshine. Or astral projection is actually just another form of the underworld and something's going to try to kill you.
Wow.
And neither one of these is true or false. Astral projection and the astral realm, it's really not that different than here. There's stuff that you need to do to protect yourself. If you go drive in a car, you're going to put on your seatbelt, so if you crash, you won't die, probably. It's the same thing with astral projection. Anytime you want to do it, you always need to have protection. And that's the main reason that most people can't, is because they don't know they need to protect themselves. And so they get scared and they stay in their bodies.
Wow. That is, I think this is something, how do you protect yourself, because it is like, it is something that is intangible, and is it like an energetic protection that, kind of a shield that you have to build around yourself?
Yes. And you can do this in a myriad of ways. I actually do it in several ways whenever I practice. And so one of the first things that I always do is I have a crystal grid that I keep around me to make sure that my body is protected while I'm astral projecting or doing Astral Reiki. And that very much consists of quite a lot of black tourmaline. So that's like your first layer, protect your physical body. Your second layer is going to be more energetic, and that you can do however you like, quite frankly. If you want to call on your ancestors to protect you, or if you want to call on your spirit guides, or if you want to call on Archangel Michael's a really popular one here. It's whatever kind of energetic archetype that you like to use that you feel gives you protection, that's what you want to use.
And I don't know, maybe this question is a right one, or maybe would be like a stupid one, but is it possible that during these astral projections, keeping aside whatever popularly people would assess or imagine about the negative energies, but is it possible that you are kind of prone to encounter negative energies, which maybe latching on to like a healthy body or maybe soul, just to suck in energy from them, something like that?
Are you talking about me specifically or people in general?
About you specifically.
So, sort of. I think in the work that I do, whenever I'm doing Astral Reiki, it varies somewhat. I do have some clients who are definitely prone to picking up negative energetic entities in the astral realm. And then I have some clients who aren't. I have some that are a little bit more spiritually advanced, and, they're higher vibrational. And so I do different stuff. So it varies. In my own travels, I don't come across that kind of thing nearly as much as I used to. as I raise my own vibration and as I have my own protection, I find that it happens less.
Hmm. No, that is actually practical, because there can be a lot of misconceptions around this. And you say you work best with people who are actually ready to step into their, authority, or who are ready to kind of, get that homecoming. So, what's a telltale sign, someone thinks that they are ready, but could be that, they really isn't ready.
So I find the people who think that they're ready but aren't actually ready are looking for a guru. And so they will look to me, or they will look to other people to tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're stepping into their spirituality, but what they're really doing is just following another leader.
Yes. I really like that answer. I love that. And I think it is very, very, I agree, absolutely, personally, because it's just like, you're completely surrendering yourself to someone else who may not even have an idea, even an iota of an idea that, what you have been through, what exactly you are looking for. It is you who knows that, what exactly you're looking for. But just that, someone needs to guide, or, mentor, or maybe just show the direction.
Right. And, there's nothing wrong with wanting a mentor. There's nothing wrong with wanting a guide. It's just when you defer every aspect of your spiritual life or your regular life to that person, and you look to that person for that person to tell you what to do. That's when you're really just spiritually codependent on your leader, and you're not using your own discernment. And that's when you really know that you're kind of ready for that next step. Because, we all start out looking up to a guru. There's very few people who are ready to just dive right in and figure it all out themselves and trust their own discernment from the get-go. So I completely understand the beginner mindset. It's just, I'm not great at the beginner mindset. I'm not great at being a guru for other people. I'm very, very big on, okay, this is what I think, but I really need you to use your own discernment where this is concerned. This is my perspective on this issue, but you also need to figure out your own perspective and what your own truth is. So, yeah, it's not a hand-holding environment.
Yeah, absolutely, Scarlett. And I think it may sound a bit, not exactly harsh, but I think it's a very pragmatic thing, because the readiness isn't about being perfect or completely being surrendered. I think it's about that willingness. So why I 100% agree with you, Scarlett, on this. And you bridge intuitive insight, with actionable strategy. So what's the most common energetic pattern you see that, blocks people from clarity? And what's the first practical step, that they can take to shift it?
So I find a lot of the people that find me, everybody always has the same problems, and we all kind of attract each other. So it's whoever finds me is usually about 3 steps behind where I am. And so most of the people that find me, they have an issue with feeling unworthy. And it's usually steeped in this belief system that they don't know enough to have actual discernment on anything. So that's the main thing that I tend to come across, is people really don't feel like they're particularly knowledgeable, and therefore they are unworthy of having their own thought process and opinion. So for that, that tends to be stemmed in having an undefined heart center. Most people with defined heart centers don't have this issue, though, conditioning can do anything. So one of the main things that I really try to get my clients to realize is that their worthiness is not actually tied to their knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And their worthiness is not actually tied to their experience or what it is that they do. And a lot of times I'll have them do mirror work. So you look at yourself in the mirror and, you say something like, I am worthy of having discernment. I am worthy of having an opinion. I am worthy of having a perspective. My voice matters. My voice counts. And that kind of thing, to just kind of look at yourself and confront what it is that pops up when you say these words to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of go from there.
Mm. Wow. It all begins with and I think at some point of the time, we often kind of measure our worthiness maybe to some materialistic gains or recognitions or validations or what kind of experiences we have had. So I think this is a very important, personally, I think, it really, really will definitely make a difference because you are giving yourself that permission to kind of, welcome that worthiness within you. Mm-hmm. And Scarlett, let's say if like you talk about astral Reiki as a way to rewire patterns on the astral plane, but then a lot of people would have pushback here. Let's say if a real change happens through grounded action, emotional processing, or maybe nervous system work, why do we need astral intervention at all? I mean, isn't it possible that astral Reiki kind of will overcomplicate something humans have been doing, or maybe they have been researching for centuries, maybe through more accessible methods?
I mean, it's possible. I won't rule it out. And I think there's definitely something to be said for, therapy and nervous system work and aligned action. And I 100% agree that you should also be doing those things. Astral Reiki, just like Reiki, is not the end all be all. It is just a piece of the puzzle. And I think it is an important piece because you can go to therapy, you can do your nervous system work, and you can take aligned action and still internally feel a lot of energetic resistance because you're not taking care of the energetic piece of what it is that you need to be doing. So it's a yes and, it's not an instead of.
And I think the choice is with us. We have all, we definitely should have that freedom of choice that, what exactly works for us or not. But I think it's definitely a very powerful way. And people want to know what's actually driving their transformation, so that they don't end up crediting just the tool or the channel or the modality instead of their own agency. So,
right. And, ultimately, Astral Reiki is just a tool. I think it's a very powerful tool. It definitely helps accelerate the process of growth. But ultimately, I'm not going to make a person grow through Astral Reiki. They have to do that themselves.
Okay. Beautiful. So, Scarlett, if listeners, they would like to explore more around Astral Reiki and, more around your resources, maybe connect with you for sessions, what would be the easiest way to do that?
So the easiest way to get a hold of me is through my website, and that is yourabundantdesign.com or astralreiki.net. They both take you to exactly the same place. And you can book an appointment there, or you can sign up for my newsletter. I do not have a lot of energy to send them out very frequently, so you will not get spammed. I send one out at a maximum of once a month. So...
Oh, I really love that honesty, yeah, Scarlett. Really love the honesty. There is no harm in exploring it, listeners. So, for all of you, I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes. So just go check out Scarlett's resources, connect with her, explore her newsletter, and also, I think if I can conclude this conversation, I think personally for me, this will definitely linger on, in my mind, long after I wrap up, because you didn't just bring insight, but you brought clarity. There is an honesty and authenticity here with humility, and also reminder that spiritual work isn't supposed to make us feel special. It is actually supposed to make us functional. So thank you so much, Scarlett.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Totally. And listeners, thank you so much for giving your time to listen to this episode. And if you are navigating your own energy right now, or maybe you are questioning what's actually aligned versus what's inherited conditioning, today definitely gave you some tools. Maybe not in a dreamy way, but in... let's apply this today. Or maybe let's apply this on a Saturday morning or a Monday morning. So thank you so much once again, listeners. Keep tuning to Cosmic Confluence. Until next time, this is your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.